Imagine your brain is a smartphone. For the average person, push notifications are only turned on for the most important events: a phone call, an urgent text, or a calendar reminder. Everything else quietly updates in the background without disturbing their peace. But if you are someone with a highly perceptive, overly aware mind, your settings are fundamentally broken. Your brain receives a high-volume push notification for everything. You walk into a busy office, and your mind instantly pings. The manager's walking pace is 10% faster than usual. Your coworker's laugh sounds incredibly forced. The tone of an email you just received is slightly too formal. You did not consciously try to notice these things. You weren't trying to be a detective. The data simply forced its way into your consciousness. Most people admire this. They call it high emotional intelligence or the ability to read the room. But if you actually live with this mind, you know the exhausting truth. It is incredibly heavy. When you cannot filter out the emotional noise of the world, your mind becomes a sponge that never gets wrung out. Today, we are going to explore the unique psychology of the unfiltered mind. We will look at the neurological reality of why you cannot stop noticing things, the hidden taxes you pay in your relationships, and how you can finally build a shield to protect your mental energy. Welcome back to Bite-Sized Psychology. Let's dive in. To truly understand why you are so relentlessly aware, we have to look inside the center of your brain, specifically at a structure called the thalamus. Think of the thalamus as the ultimate biological bouncer at an exclusive nightclub. Every single second, billions of pieces of sensory data are trying to enter your conscious mind. For the average person, the thalamus is an excellent bouncer. It blocks out the useless information, like the hum of the air conditioner, the slight frown of a stranger, or the changing tone of a friend's voice, and only lets in what is strictly necessary for survival. This biological filtering system is called sensory gating. But for people who are overly aware, science suggests you possess a trait called low latent inhibition. Your bouncer is essentially asleep at the door. Your brain treats almost every piece of incoming social and emotional data as highly relevant. You do not have the luxury of natural ignorance. When you are sitting at a dinner table, you aren't just tasting the food. Your brain is simultaneously processing the microtensions between the couple sitting across from you, the underlying anxiety in your friend's voice, and the unspoken expectations of the host. Because your brain processes everything in high definition, you suffer from three distinct psychological burdens that the rest of the world rarely understands. The first burden is the anticipation fatigue. Because you gather so much data about human behavior, your brain naturally tries to use that data to predict the future. You don't just attend a social event. You run a complex, 3D simulation of it beforehand. If you are planning to pitch an idea at a meeting, you don't just prepare your presentation. Your unfiltered mind begins calculating every possible reaction. If I say this, Sarah might feel undermined because of her project last week, so I need to soften my tone. But if I soften my tone, the director might think I lack confidence, so I need to balance it with strong body language. You play mental chess with every interaction. You script conversations before they happen and analyze them long after they end. The tragic result is that by the time the actual event takes place, you are already psychologically drained. You burn out before you even step into the room. The second burden is the chameleon tax. When you are instantly aware of what everyone around you is feeling, you automatically realize what they need from you to feel comfortable. Your hyperperception makes you incredibly adaptable. Without even thinking about it, you adjust your personality, your tone, and your energy to match the frequency of the person you're talking to. If you are with someone anxious, you become the calm anchor. If you are with someone insecure, you become the enthusiastic cheerleader. You shapeshift to maintain harmony. But this creates a profound, quiet identity crisis. When you spend your entire life molding yourself to absorb the emotional needs of a room, you eventually look in the mirror and ask, "Who am I when no one else is around?" You become so good at understanding others that you completely lose track of your own authentic needs. The third burden is the meaning matrix. An unfiltered mind struggles to accept that sometimes, things are completely meaningless. Because your brain is designed to find complex patterns, it often over-indexes neutral situations, turning them into hidden threats. Let's say a client replies to your detailed proposal with a simple, 2-word email. Received, thanks. An average person reads that and moves on with their day. But your brain instantly throws a warning flag. It compares this email to their previous emails. It analyzes the lack of an exclamation mark. It questions the speed of the reply. Within 5 minutes, your brain has constructed an entire narrative that the client is furious, your work is inadequate, and the contract is in jeopardy. You suffer from the illusion of depth. You assume that because you put intense meaning into your subtle actions, everyone else must be doing the same. But the reality is often much simpler. The client was just eating lunch and typing with one hand. Not every shadow is a monster. Sometimes, it is just a shadow. So, how do you survive when your brain refuses to filter the world? How do you stop being a prisoner of your own perception? You cannot fire the bouncer in your brain, but you can change the rules of the club. To protect your peace, you must implement 3 psychological protocols. Protocol 1 is separating data from directive. The greatest mistake overly aware people make is believing that noticing a problem automatically makes it their responsibility to fix it. This is a false assumption. You might walk into a room and immediately notice that a friend is acting passive-aggressively toward their partner. Your brain collects the data. In the past, you would have felt an overwhelming urge to intervene, to change the subject, or to mediate the tension. You must learn to say to yourself, "I see the tension. That is accurate data. But it is not my directive." You are allowed to be a spectator in the theater of life. You do not always have to be the director. Let people manage their own emotional messes. Protocol 2 is intentional sensory fasting. Because your brain is constantly processing an overwhelming amount of social data, your nervous system is in a state of chronic inflammation. You must deliberately engineer moments of absolute zero input. This doesn't mean just taking a nap. It means scheduling 20 minutes a day where you are not reading faces, not analyzing text messages, and not consuming media. Sit in a quiet room, go for a walk without headphones, or stare at a blank wall. Give your thalamus a designated period to completely power down. You must aggressively protect your quiet time, because for an unfiltered mind, silence is not a luxury, it is biological medicine. Protocol 3 is giving yourself the right to be clueless. You have built an entire identity around being the one who gets it. The one who is sharp, observant, and deeply empathetic. But you need to realize that perfection in perception is a trap. Start giving yourself permission to take things exactly at face value. When someone says they are fine, even if your radar screams that they are lying, practice taking them at their word. If they want your help, they must learn to communicate like an adult and ask for it. You are not a mind reader, and it is not your job to excavate their hidden feelings. Practice the incredibly freeing phrase, "I didn't notice." It is okay to let things slip by. When you start implementing these protocols, a beautiful transformation occurs. Your intense awareness stops acting like a vacuum cleaner that sucks up all the dirt in the room, and starts acting like a high-powered flashlight. You can choose exactly where to point it, and more importantly, you can choose when to turn it off. You will still be the most observant person in the room. You will still understand human nature on a profound level. But you will no longer be crushed by it. You will finally have the energy to use your intelligence for yourself. If this psychological profile resonates with you, which of the 3 burdens, anticipation fatigue, the chameleon tax, or the meaning matrix, drains you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found value in this deep dive, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who also struggles with an unfiltered mind. Thank you for watching. This is Bite-Sized Psychology. Protect your peace, and I will see you in the next one.